Oh, hello. This is my face. Just if you wanted to put a face to the voice or something. As you can see behind me, that way. That way? Wow, that's difficult. There's a Croatian flag there. So something's changed. As a matter of fact, a few things have changed. We've left Dundalk and the Irish League behind us, and we've moved on to the next step of the journey. Obviously, Croatia has something to do with that. But how much it has to do with it, you'll have to wait and see after the intro. So let's roll it. Alright, hello and welcome back to Are We There Yet? Season 4, in a strange way, because it's our 4th season, but this season's already in progress. So episode 1, obviously, and here we are. We'll just switch to that page instead, So, Nogometni Club, Lokomotiva Zagreb, in the Croatian Premier League. Currently 8th, we'll have a look at that in a moment. But yeah, so the reason we came here is because I've never managed in Croatia. There's a higher reputation than Dundalk had. They've also got some money, but we'll get to that in a minute. Also, I know Croatia is a great place for regions, so that's something I really would like to see. You can see just from the club history there, they've been First Division, Premier League, whatever you want to call it, since 2000. Well, they were promoted in 2008, 2009, and they've been there ever since. So, coming on 10 years. This could be their 10th year now, possibly. We'll go through the squad shortly. I'm not sure how much I want to go into that, because there is a lot of players here. You can see our fiercest rivals are Hajduk Split. Other rivals are NK Zagreb, who actually own the club, but are a division below us. Not sure what's on with that, but whatever. Inter Zaprešnik. I'm going to have to look some of this up. And Hrvatski Dragovljak. I am terribly sorry. We'll look it up. So they've been around for about 104 years, if my maths is correct. And in that time, they've got 2 favoured personnel, and that's about it. So nothing massive there. They were predicted to finish 5th. Obviously, the 8th will get there. News, not to worry too much about that. So we're in Zagreb, obviously. We've got a almost 9,000 capacity stadium, but less than half of that is seated. They don't know when it was built or rebuilt. As far as facilities go, we've got adequate training facilities, average youth facilities, but good junior coaching and above average youth recruitment. And I think from what I saw at Dundalk, youth recruitment, I think, is the key to what you bring in terms of regens. The quality will probably then come down to, well, I think their ability to progress is where the youth facilities comes in. So I think the youth recruitment is the key factor in what you find. Affiliates, we've got a few already. Dinamo Zagreb, so obviously they're the big competition, and we can loan their players whenever we feel like it. Maximir, one of our, well, we're the seniors here, senior affiliates. We can send our clubs out there on loan. And the same with NK Sesvete. Again, I don't know. I'm terribly sorry. And let's get into the club report here. So, Lokomotiva Zagreb, they're a professional club, obviously. We play in the Max TV league. But so they finished mid-table last year. We probably could look at that shortly. We've gone through the facilities and the rivalries. So obviously they've never won a competition. Nothing at all. But they're having their best spell this decade. So they finished runners-up in this division about 5 years ago. Runners-up in the cup, same season. So I'm assuming that's the main domestic cup. We finished 2nd in the Yugoslav. Obviously that was before the split. That was back in 1956. And then we finished runners-up in the 3rd tier, and that was 2008. So obviously it's a new club. They've got just come up through the ranks, and then they've been here ever since. Why did I leave a 5-time champion for this, because if we go to the league, we're now up inside the top 20 as far as reputation goes, instead of being 75th. So you can see the club are 8th. I've promised them mid-table, so that's top 5, which is where we were predicted to be by the media. You can see here, past winners. It's not really, well, Zagreb, NK Zagreb, that's our parent club, kind of. They own this team. They're the only ones to have won it, aside from Hajduk Split and Dinamo Zagreb in the last 20 years. So we've got a lot to do. So this is the squad. I'll go into the tactic in a moment, because like you can see I've picked a few players. If we rank them by ability, I've got one here who's not actually in the squad at the moment, and then one who's injured, who's apparently the best right back. Now I still obviously have a lot of work to do as far as working out who's the best, who's the worst, who's got potential, who doesn't, who stays, who goes, because as far as wages go, there's a few here on £2,000 plus per week. The little group there on between 1,000 and 2,000, and everybody else is far and below. A lot of youth, and a lot of youth that needs to be sorted, because I can see a few 5 stars there, 4 of which are already on loan. One who's probably the best player at the club, or one of the best players, will be straight into the first team, and he's got a guaranteed about another half-star potential. So as far as anything else goes, let's have a look at the youth team, the under-19s, because I haven't looked here yet. What have we got? 5-star potential for half a dozen, so there's about 6 players there. So we've got a winger, right back, a striker, 2 strikers, a centre back, and a goalkeeper. And then a couple there on 4.5, a couple on 4. So that looks quite promising. I'm sure we could bring some of them up through the first team. So without going hugely into the squad, because look at it. Yeah, look at the size of this. It's absolutely ridiculous. There's so many of them are out on loan as well. So there's going to be a lot to do behind the scenes, for me at least. So I probably should have gone through it a little bit more. Basically, I just built a tactic that I thought would play out, because when I look here, I quite like this screen. We go to all positions. Central mid or defensive mid. It's the same 2 guys with a 3rd central midfielder. So sort of thought, maybe a counter-attacking style. I've seen the 4-2-4 with Monaco, although they describe as a 4-2-2-2, and I wanted to try and maybe build something a little bit like that. You see down the right, got a lot going on. Down the left, wingers were okay. Left backs, like I said, a weakness, and one I will be looking to improve upon. Left mid, not really ideal. I know it says that they're playing a 4-4-2, and perhaps I'll create a 4-4-2 as well, because if that's what they're using, they've apparently done pretty well with it. So we'll actually clear that one, because we're not going to reuse that. The 4-2-3-1 loaded with it. But like I say, I've gone for a 4-2-4. Why? Obviously because we've got good wingers. Fiolic is, like I said, probably the best player at the club, or at least one of the best players at the club. A couple of very strong midfielders. Gone for a Regista over your standard deep lying playmaker. Because he's better at it. Am I even on the right player? I am. So like I said, it says a more aggressive version of a deep line playmaker. Suitable for position. Okay. Probably not what I want then. Because we aren't going to be playing possession. We're not going to be pressing a whole lot, at least to begin with. So I'll probably look to adjust that very soon. We'll maybe just run through the starting 11, or for what I've got at the moment, how I see it working. So in goal, Dante Stepica. It says drop him because his current form is shit, like absolutely shit. He's been here for a couple of seasons. He looks like a pretty strong goalkeeper. Physically, he's fantastic, but pretty solid. Strength's the only thing that's really lacking. He's agile. He's a sweeper keeper too, which I should probably adjust. Mentally, not the best decision maker. He's not very good off the ball, and doesn't really have any vision. But hopefully, if he just does his job and stops the ball going to the back of the net, we'll be all right. Eccentricity, I'm not really fond of, because it just makes the they become so unpredictable. Like I says there, to do the unexpected with or without the ball. Goalkeepers are bad enough on Football Manager without having to worry about that. But on the other side of things, he's good in the air. He's got good command of his box. Not the best at communicating, so those two should tie in quite closely. He's good at one-on-ones. He can handle the ball quite well, so you shouldn't have to worry about him fumbling too many. Good reflexes. He's good at rushing out. Likes to throw a lot too, so again, it's not something I'm really fond of. But he's very brave, good concentration, good determination, and we'll try and skip through this quite quickly. So on the right is Henk Dijkhuizen. He's Dutch, 26. He's not the best right back at the club. The other guy is injured, but we'll not worry about him too much right now. What he does have going for him is fantastic at marking. He's pretty solid at tackling. Mentally quite good. Lacks the determination, which is unfortunate. But he's not too bad physically. He can cross the ball, he can dribble, so it makes for a pretty good wingback, minus the passing. It's one thing that's a little bit unsure, and I would like to play wingbacks, especially if we've got 2 DMs. We can push these guys up. I have these guys cut inside, or we could look to play maybe a 3-4-3. I don't know. I'm gonna play around with a few things and try and do things a little differently than we did before. Next is Marko Stolnik. So the first of our centre backs. He's just really solid in general. So again, some of the mentals aren't great through the middle here, like his mentals. So the decisions, the concentration, that kind of thing. But he's got all the keys here. He can a long throw if you need him to. Not sure what that's about. Works hard. He works for the team. Good positioning. Really nice physicals there as well. So he's somebody that could play maybe a cover role if needs be. And with him is Dino Peric, who's also Croatian. And again, he's probably just a better version without the physicals, basically. But instead of that, he makes up with the mentals. So the mentals, composure, and that sort of stuff. Determination is through the roof, as is his jumping reach. He's also 6'6", with a jumping reach of 18. Wow, that's really impressive. Again, he can throw the ball quite far. I'm not sure why you'd ever have centre backs with doing your throw-ins, but that's okay. Solid heading, and also the marking and the tackling are very good as well. And the final member, our left back, Ali Bamba from the Ivory Coast. Physically is a machine, 6'3", runs with the best of them. He's strong as all hell. He could play centre back, to be honest, looking at this. As far as wing back, probably not the best. Passing and crossing, they're both pretty vital, and he doesn't really have it in abundance just yet. And at 27, he's probably not got the time left to develop those. Moving into the midfield, Ivan Sunyik, who I believe is the captain, or the vice-captain. I should know that, because I've just named them. I think he's the captain, but I can't remember. So, again, now for 22, he's pretty sound mentally. Teamwork, determination, work rate, all things that I really like. Physically, he's not too bad. He's not the fastest in the world, but as a DM, we shouldn't really need him to be. Good tackling, good marking, pass it, good technique, great first touch. So he's going to be a really key part of the midfield. Luca Begonia, this is the captain. The other guy, Ivan, is the vice captain. I've just realised now looking at the photo. So 26, again, he looks fantastic. We should be so solid through the middle. I know I've just really summed that up quite quickly, but those 4 there should be absolutely fantastic, and I really would like to push these 2 forward, so maybe we will play Bamba as a wing-back on support. I know it doesn't fit him ideally, but I think it was just because of crossing and the passing, really. He's got all the pace and that sort of stuff for it, so let's just leave it at that. Let's move further up the field to our wingers. Ivan Fiolik, who I've already described as probably the best player at the club. Just absolutely tremendous. Says he prefers the inside forward. Could play a Ramdeuter. I know that's a German word, but it's not something I'm particularly knowledgeable about, so I don't really want to get too carried away with that. fast as hell. Maybe not the best overall speed, but he will get there very quickly. He's agile, he's got good balance, naturally nice and fit, good reasonably good stamina. But you know, for the key roles, cross it, dribble it, good first touch, can probably take. He'll either take one, taking the free kicks. When you combine that with the long shots, good passing, could be the set piece master. To be honest, good corners, reasonably good penalty taking, and mentally also very, very good for 22. He is wanted by a Turkish side, and I'm really hoping that he's not going to want to take that interest any further than that. And on the left hand side is Petar Bokaj, I think. I promise I'll work on the pronunciation. So obviously not quite as good. He says he's left footed. I've got him playing on the left, so that never mind where I was going with that. Probably play him on the right, an inside forward, have two inside forwards, because they'll be quite complementary with the wing backs, obviously, because it does say he cuts inside from both wings. Maybe not as quick, and he's not as good. But he's got, you know, another half star of potential. He's valued at over $500,000, so it doesn't work out, we sell him on. Now, as far as the strikers went, I actually struggled to put something together. They were all sort of playing the same roles. It was all defensive forward and target man. And I don't want to put two strikers on support, sorry. Because that's just not good. Not good. So at the moment it's a defensive forward and an advanced forward. Collar, although he's better as a defensive forward, he's the better advanced forward. Alright, so physically very, very good. Balance, jumping reach, not quite there, but everything else, especially that natural fitness and the stamina, and his pace, is all going to be really good. Mentally solid for 23. These Croatians know how to breed him, don't they? And technically, dribbling, finishing, first touch, heading, technique, all pretty solid. Could probably take a penalty if we wanted him to. It just looks like a pretty nice striker. He's already got 12 goals in the 5 years that he's been here. Why have I got career stats up twice? I don't know, but that's pretty poor return. And hasn't scored this season so far in 6 sub appearances. So we're giving him a bit of a vote of confidence bringing him in, because as far as strikers go, I think they've been playing a 4-2-3-1. They've just been relying on, well, here you go, Lovro Bizjak. He's got 11 starts. Assuming Francis Kairima as a defensive forward or a false 9. He's obviously been playing up front. He's got 18 goals and 59 appearances, so that's probably a much better return, and maybe I should switch them out. And the guy with the most starts, Frank Etundi from Cameroon. I know this name. I'm not sure how, because he's been in Switzerland by the looks of things. Anyway, 28, so he's probably one of the veterans of the team. 10 goals and 38 appearances. He's a target man. But because I don't want to play target man and defensive forward, because I want an attacker on attack. Although I suppose if you had inside forwards on attack, you could play a target man. This is going to be a real test. A real test. But as you'd expect, mentally, absolutely fantastic. There's a couple there that sort of... There's a couple that maybe aren't quite where you'd like them to be. Physically, still very, very good for his age. I know 28 isn't the oldest in the world, but to still have pace and acceleration is probably the natural fitness there that's really helping him out. Technically, he is lacking 12 finishing, but the heading and the passing, that's obviously what makes the target man. And as a defensive forward, it's really just these mentals that you rely on with a little bit of the physical side of the game. But I think that will do for now, because I'm not going through all of these, and I'm sure we've already been recording for quite some time. Let me just check. We've already been going for almost half an hour. So let's wrap this up, and we'll save the game for the next episode. Let's play all 3, just to get us warmed up. and then we can sort of focus back in as we get to the end here. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you're excited about our first season in Croatia, I certainly am. Make sure you check back in for the next one. And as always, thanks for watching. I think I said that. I'm not sure. The webcam's throwing me off. I need to work on my I need to work on that a little bit. But as always, thanks for watching. Have yourselves a great day. Bye.